All right. Let's give everyone about one more minute. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We may have people joining us. We may not, but the great news is this recording will be on our CIDDL YouTube site. So if you ever want to jump back or share it out with friends, you can come back to this conversation and this recording to see what we discussed today. So my name is Angelica Fulcini-Scruggs. I'm the operations director at the CIDDL Center, and I am joined by some of my other colleagues here at the CIDDL Center. I'll let them introduce themselves. We're really excited to have you back for another CIDDL office hours. We have some information in the chat for you to fill out based on how you heard of us and future CIDDL office hours you'd like to see. So I will kick it off and send it to Jamie.
Hey everyone, I'm the principal investigator and director of the CIDDL Center. I'm glad everyone's here for office hours today. We have a great topic and some great kind of expertise that's going to be joining us today. I'm going to have our graduate research assistants introduce themselves, and then we'll kind of get going.
Yeah, hello, my name is Sierra Sung. I'm a doctoral student at the University of Kansas and a graduate research assistant at the CIDDL Center.
And hi, I'm Teddy Kim. I'm also the second year doc student at KU, and I'm also the GRA at CIDDL Center.
I know we have people on the background, Samantha and others, but they're kind of hiding today. So today, as in the office hours tradition, we're going to do a little quick discussion around a topic and then kind of open the floor up for any number of questions that anyone may have about the topic or other topics or otherwise. And the first 30 minutes of it, we'll have this recorded. We can stay on a little bit later if people want to ask other questions and not be recorded. If you're on screen, chances are you could be recorded and put on YouTube. If you're not on screen and you mute yourself, etc., it's likely that people will never know you were here. But today we have a topic that we've been getting a lot of requests about. So the CIDDL Center is a technology center that's supported by the U.S. Department of Education Office of Special Education Programs. And we try to support with a mission of trying to innovate and support the field in adopting new and innovative practices around educational technology. Our primary focus has been on higher education and helping our peers in the personnel preparation and development, although we've been trying to also help our friends in K-12 as we spend a lot of time working in K-12 environments. So one of the big questions we've been getting is like, what's going on in the AI space around state guidance? So what states have guidance? What do the guidance things, what are they saying? What are the major themes going on? So over the last year, we've undertaken a number of scans to kind of understand the state guidance. And Urin's been great enough to kind of head up that effort for us. So she's going to come on today and we're going to talk about what the different states are saying. But as always, we have wonderful resources, as someone just kind of put in the chat there, Teddy, thank you, for places you can download and kind of see what's going on. But Urin, do you want to kind of take it over and tell us what's going on in the states?
Yeah, sure. Teddy uploaded the link on drop the link on the chat. So if you click it, it'll link you to the same page as I am seeing. I'm going to share my screen. Here it is. So do you see the screen? So the CIDDL Center has been interested in monitoring what are the states that officially release AI guidance and what are some common themes around them. And here are some of the information we got. So we defined AI state guidance as a document or resource from an official website of a state agency or a document endorsed by state education leadership. And the focus must be on K-12 students. We decided to go with the K-12 students with the word guidance or guidelines and students. As you can see on the map, there are 22 state guidance that met our criteria, which are represented as deep blue. And for the light blue, those are the states that are claimed to have state AI guidance, but did not meet our criteria because some of them focused on like employees, how to train employees instead of K-12 students, and some states listed resources instead of providing the actual guidance. So here are the states that met our criteria, and if you click the link, you can directly go to the document and check. And if you click the download the PDF button, you'll be able to see a little more detailed information of our work. So there are like 8 big themes that we identified, including AI for personalized learning, potential benefits of AI, potential to enhance accessibility, potential risk of AI, ethical use of AI, need for ensuring equal access, need for human training and support, and advocating for K-12 policy development. This may seem a lot, but we're going to guide you through one by one. And there were 15 states that consider students with disabilities in the documents, and those are over here. So let's take a look at the themes one by one. The first one is AI for personalized learning, which is the biggest theme of using AI for education. It can be a goal of using AI for education, and it can also be a benefit. So AI can personalize learning for all students, including those with disabilities. For example, teachers can use generative AI to create personalized lesson plans or instructional materials, or like summaries or quizzes, or all the things that meets the individual needs of the students. And this is more impactful for students with disabilities because as special educators, we are required to make individualized education programs or 504 plans, and AI makes it a lot easier. There are some other potential benefits of AI as well, such as efficiency, that we can automate administrative tasks, makes it free up a lot of time to actually interact with our students and provide personalized support. And we can enhance creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration, and communication skills of students, which are critical in the 21st century. And some of the states mentioned that students can enhance creativity if they create like music or art or even creative writing. And critical thinking wise, if we have chance to evaluate the AI output critically, and if AI can help breaking down the task step by step, it can assist with problem solving as well. And for collaboration, students can collaborate with AI, and also AI can make some platforms that makes it easier for students to collaborate with each other and communicate with each other. But one thing to note is that some states mention these as benefits and some states mention these as risks, which means AI is neutral. There's nothing wrong or right and wrong about AI, and it's the human's role who can make it as a benefit or risk. So we're going to talk a little bit more in the risk section. So AI also has potential to enhance accessibility for all students, including students with disabilities. And some states connected this with assistive technology. For example, speech to text, text to speech has been around for quite a while. And also translation tools can assist accessibility for multilingual learners. And also something like AI-powered planning tools can support students with executive function challenges. And this also aligns with IDEA and Section 504. And here are some risks of AI. The biggest ones are inaccuracy and bias, because the nature of AI, like how AI is trained, is based on data that's all over the internet. And those data were created by humans, which already have some bias and inaccurate bias and inaccuracy. So it's like AI's nature to have these traits. And another big issues is over-reliance. So I think this is one of the most critical things that educators are worried about. So even though AI can enhance all the traits of students, for example, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and such, if we over rely on AI and ask AI to do all the tasks instead of us, students will not get any chance to learn from like critically thinking and like use all the cognitive resources to that learning's happening. So it is very important to think about the ethical use of AI to balance the benefits and risk. For example, it is important to have human in the loop. So humans should always be in charge of initiating the task, providing feedback, and make final decisions. Also, always need to have agency. And also, it is important to think about academic integrity so that AI doesn't do all the work instead of us, and be transparent about how students are using AI, like how to cite AI if AI did some work instead of them, some part of work. But some states also mentioned that like we are focusing too much on just like plagiarism and stuff, and rather they asked us to re-envision all our education system, like what will be the future of like how can we assess learning in the age of AI, like kind of that.
So
And in
can I
terms
jump
of
in here?
privacy,
So what's kind of interesting here, as you kind of brought this up earlier, is that there's some overlap between what some of the states are saying are advantages and what some states are saying are risks. And I think this is probably highlighting the kind of the Wild West nature of what's going on in AI right now, and the importance of, developing sort of partnerships with people who can help develop further understanding around these topics. And so if you're a school district out there, and your state's kind of put out this guidance, you might have people in your community and or others, such as research institutes, such as CIDDL and other groups that can even help guide and help understand this sort of issue. Um, I think these are huge concerns. Um, I know we need to kind of get on with the office hours aspect of it too a little bit, but any sort of like big sort of takeaways, other takeaways here that you want to highlight?
in terms of academic integrity and all the
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's
benefits and
something that
risks.
we've been working on too.
Yeah, I think it is important, very important to think about not only focusing on plagiarism and risk, because like those are the kind of I think those are kind of surface level discussion. The more we're concerned is whether the learning is actually happening to students and how we can support students to wisely use AI. Like when is the right time to use AI, when it's not right to use AI, and like that, and also the cognitive development kind of sort of way, like how will it impact, how will using generative AI and relying on it impact their long-term cognitive development. I think those things are the things that we should focus more on.
Yeah, kind of some of the conversations going on right now remind me of the old calculator sort of discussion, right? When's it right? When's it wrong to use a calculator? And it reminds me of I was years ago. I don't want to date myself too long, but years ago I was supervising student teachers in a setting, and this is right after I was in my doctoral program. I had just come out of the classroom, and I was supervising student teachers, and I went into a kind of a self-contained class, if you will, and they had a young man there that was quite upset, in fact, and he crumpled up some papers and kind of tossed them aside, and the teacher was arguing with him and said, kind of power tripping him and said, if you don't do that math, you can't move on to the next unit. And so I said, that's kind of interesting. So the next day, next couple of days, I'd walk in and the same situation was going on. And so I said, so what's the young man doing? And they said, well, he's doing multiple multiple digit addition with decimals. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, he's been working out for the last 3 years. And I was like, the last 3 years. And I like had a calculator in my bag, threw it out in front of him. And I said, hey, can you do those problems? He goes, he sits and starts doing them. And the teacher goes, that's not the problem. He can do them on the calculator. He just can't do them by hand. And he's been working out for 3 years. And so we kind of get into some of that discussion around the calculator and how AI is similar and different at the same time.
Yeah. I think
And
AI
like,
brings
what's
in
the
a little
purpose
more
of this whole thing?
complicated. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. It's also about what's the purpose of this whole thing. The other thing I want to highlight, and I'll put it in the
Yeah.
chat, is just that one of our co-PIs, one of at the center, developed a policy explorer. And that's also on the website if you scroll down. And I just put it in there. So he basically trained a ChatGPT and kind of customized it around these AI policies. That it needs to probably be updated because this is just an ongoing, as Uren's kind of found out, ongoing. States are updating these things on a day-to-day sort of basis at times. But if you want to kind of explore different policies and kind of say, what's Missouri doing or what's Mississippi doing compared to Wyoming, compared to, Colorado or others, you can make those comparisons in using that policy explorer. So,
All right.
yeah.
Would you guys want to jump into some questions? We have a little less than 15 minutes left. Or are there a couple more points that you want to discuss with the group?
Well, we can go on, we can get policy wonkish. So I don't think people want that.
Yeah.
But we want people from this is office hours. So we want to offer people the ability to ask questions
Yeah.
about policy or anything AI related or, wonderings overall. Something CIDDL could help you with.
Absolutely. All right. Well, while we are waiting, let's jump into one of the questions. What criteria must a state meet to be considered as providing AI state guidance for K-12 education? And I think you kind of discussed it, but maybe you want to lay it out again.
Here, you want to talk about, we've talked about this a bunch within our center. But you did discuss it. Do you want to say anything more about that, or do you want me to?
Go ahead. I'll edit any thoughts.
Okay. We've decided as a center, there's different places you could look across the United States that have tried to identify what's going on with state guidance. One of the things I think that we're different in what we do is, one, we have a criteria for what state guidance is. That criteria is on our website. It's clearly defined. The idea is that we want states to say that this is literally state guidance for schools. And not just like, here's a toolkit for our state employees to consider, or that, we don't want it, like a major university, for example, to claim that they are publishing guidance that schools should follow within a state without having the authority of the state to do that. And so we've tried to look for governing agencies that put out state guidance or have the authorization to do so. So that's ours a little bit different. The other piece that I think we want to highlight that's clearly different in CIDDL's work is we're really also focused on how do students with disabilities fall within that state guidance? Are they actually even considered? I mean, we are focused on students with disabilities. And as our field has found out over and over again, over multiple decades of work, students with disabilities are often left out of the equation. And we see AI as providing the potential to really provide more accessible environments overall. And when we think about providing students with disabilities educational services, uh, if states have it on their radar that AI can help support that, then hopefully other schools and teachers and such will as well.
Yeah. Another question. What are some gaps between the AI guidance and research?
Yeah, so what I think is like the guidance mentioned that it is very important to teach students and teachers about AI literacy. What is AI literacy? What can AI do? What AI cannot do, and such. But they don't really give like very practical guidance on how to teach AI literacy. That's one thing. And another thing, we kind of already mentioned about it, but like, how does AI impact students' cognitive development? Like what age is a good age to introduce AI to students? Those are not really like researched that much, but it is very critical, I think. So it is I think it's worth researching those areas. Jamie, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, there's just tons of gaps right now. I mean, that could be a whole nother discussion and continued discussion. In our publication on artificial intelligence, we talk about some of those gaps. So this center, I'm sure someone will probably throw it in as we're talking here. The center's gone through and started to identify some of the gaps that came out last year in artificial intelligence around students with disabilities that have a crossover with policy. And we're updating that publication now. In fact, we had a meeting about this morning because there's been so much transformational change that's taken place within AI. It's an ongoing, thank you, Angelica, for putting that in the chat. This is an ongoing area of concern and interest. So if people are wanting to collaborate, let us know.
Yes, absolutely. And actually one of the questions we got from our form that we keep popping in was how can AI reduce special education teacher workload?
That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Well, I mean, I can just give you some examples. I know I'm getting other chats and I'm not seeing them all yet, but um, one of the things we're using with workload and like I'm personally doing, in fact, Aaron and Teddy and I were just doing it yesterday, is we've developed a customized, and we said that we're going to do an office hours on this pretty soon, customized GPT to be an assistant for teaching. And so the GPT has, like, for instance, and we're in higher ed, right? So, but we could do the same thing with K-12. It has a syllabus and understanding of the class that we're teaching, and so it knows that, for instance, they're primarily freshmen, sophomores, and a couple juniors, and that it's a pre-service education course, and here's the syllabus and the goal of the course, etc. And it also knows that, when we ask for uh, like activities and such, as we do, we want them in 15-minute increments, 20-minute increments, etc. And so yesterday what we did is, we have to teach MTSS. So we're teaching multiple tiers of support and sort of what activities and what should we consider in teaching this. And it gave a bunch of here are the things you consider teaching and resources for you and activities you can do in your class. And then it said, would you like me to help build these activities? And so what we're doing, for instance, tomorrow, if any of our students are watching, you're going to get a little highlight. But one of the things we're doing tomorrow based on this, using the service, is we're doing a MTSS data meeting simulation. And the AI has created all this, data. And it's built all the systems and backstories for the students. And then we actually went ahead and trained another a customized GPT to kind of be the meeting facilitator, if you will. And so the students are able to interact with it, and the AI is able to give information and talk about next steps, etc. But all of that we were talking yesterday as we're kind of finalizing the plans on this, like how this would have been nearly impossible without AI. So we think about the ways that it can help with workload. I mean, I just think about the ways it not only helps with workload, but increase the creativity and things we can do. And the way we teach students and the way we engage students is just absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. So we have about 4 minutes left. Any last minute questions before we sign off?
Yeah, I'd make one comment, Jamie. I interviewed a special ed director from Chicago on my podcast a few weeks ago, and she talked about, and I gave her some questions to ask her special ed teachers about how AI was reducing their workload or improving their work overall. And the two things that she mentioned that she felt like were really being impacted in a positive way, it's just simply IEP writing. That they were using a platform called IEP Copilot, but
Yeah.
to write present levels and to write IEP goals, not only was it a lot faster, they were saying that the quality of the goal and the quality of the present level statements were better than they could have wrote themselves. So that was the first thing. The other thing they said that really helped reduce their workload was just the scheduling piece. And so loading up a platform with IEP dates and then having the AI basically send all of the meeting invites out automatically via email was also a real time saver for them. And so I just thought I'd share that. That was just coming straight from the field. The other comment I'd make, Jamie, is I do training in Colorado primarily, but in other places too. And the state guidance that you're referring to, I think even though Colorado is one of the states listed, it just because state has some good guidance out there doesn't mean that the special ed teachers are reading it, are familiar with it. And I'm running into people in lots of places that really don't have a lot of guidance at all around using AI, and they're just trying to figure it out on their own too. So even special ed directors in a lot of places are not offering a whole lot of guidance right now from my perspective.
Yeah, Bob, I think that's, and you and I have talked about this. And we spent some time at CEC together talking about that. But I think these are major issues that are going on in the field. I think we're gonna just getting the word out for that states have guidance. That's part of the reason we want to do this today, is to say, hey, if you live in a state, be it Colorado, you're working with Colorado, you live in Oklahoma, whatever it is, here's what's kind of going on. The other thing that we want to get the word out on is that, when states are starting to develop their guidance or districts are starting to develop their guidance, look at your friends and colleagues around you to figure out whether they also have, in other institutions around you, have help support in doing that. I know, like we were talking with one state back in October about some things, and they were really having a hard time thinking about what would even go in their guidance, and so we pointed them to these other guidance documents. And CIDDL's here to also help as much as we possibly can. Again, our focus has been on transforming the way we do teacher or personnel preparation overall and support faculty members in doing that work. But we're here to lend a hand. So as groups are kind of undergoing this, whether you're a district or a state, if you want to give us a call and see if we can be of assistance or jump on a call, we're also here for you.
Absolutely. And I see in the chat, people are really interested in a list of these shared resources that we are talking about today. The great news about our office hours is there's always a follow-up blog that has this video embedded in it, this conversation embedded in it, and a list of the topics that were discussed and questions asked and conversations we had. That goes out in our newsletter along with just posted onto our site. Give us a couple days to get that out to you, and you will have all of those resources that you need that we discussed today.
Yeah, and sign up for a newsletter if you don't want to always have to watch our website.
Yeah.
Sign up for a newsletter, and we usually send little announcements out in that.
Yep. And our community as well is a great place to chat about all of this and make sure you're up to date on our next office hours. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you being here. I am going to end the recording right now.